National Book Week will be marked across the country between the 5th and 8th of September, and it comes amid some worrying reading statistics which show that only 14% of the South African population are indeed active book readers, and a mere 5% of our parents read to their children. The commemoration coincides with International Literacy Day on the 8th of September. Well, Nikki Crowster is the National PRO for the Library and Information Services Association of South Africa, LIASA, and she joins us now from our Seapoint studios. Good afternoon, Nikki, and thank you for your time on the SABC News Desk.
Hello, Krishni. Thank you very much for inviting us.
Nikki, a celebration of our intellectual and literacy heritage, but also a week for libraries to market reading more robustly.
Okay, I think I heard what you said. It is no coincidence that National Book Week is being held in September, Heritage Month, because reading and buying books are our culture. And the South African Book Development Council, who's running National Book Week and who is a partner of LIASA, we support them entirely, is promoting the culture of reading as well as the culture of buying books. Sadly, the pointers in our country indicate that there's a low culture of reading in our country. At present, the campaign is hashtag buy a book and hashtag read a book. The first one, buy a book, allows people to buy from selected titles for 20 Rand until the 18th of September and give it to somebody that you know, give it to a child, donate it, put it in the donation bins available at the vendors. The advantages of reading are widespread, and the developmental advantage of children who have books and who read books are well known. Creativity and curiosity are attributes that people look for today when they're employing people, and these are the kinds of skills that reading encourages. Reading to your children as well. Long-term studies show that when children are read to in the homes and when they own 20 books or more, they are distinctly better off than children who don't.
Nikki, hashtag buy a book, hashtag read a book. What are some of those barriers when it comes to inculcating or building a culture, a nation of voracious readers?
Krishni, you know, it's about value and it's about context. We all know the socio-economic challenges that all of us face in this country at present, and sometimes difficult choices have to be made. In fact, on a daily basis, people have to choose between buying a loaf of bread or perhaps 20 Rand for the hashtag buy a book campaign. This is where libraries come into play. Through infrastructure and materials and library services, the opportunity to access those books and the advantages that reading them brings is made available to everyone by the libraries. The other aspect is the aspect of value. In the discussions last week, for example, around the question, are books expensive? The point was made that we invest in brands, we invest in luxury cars, clothing and such like, but when it comes to paying for books, we pause and we wonder about it. And we need to address that mindset and examine our values in terms of what we're prepared to spend on and how we see the value of books. Books change lives, as somebody said. He is where he is today because he was exposed to reading and he owned books all his life.
Nikki, let's touch on the point of libraries quickly. They're traditionally seen as a place to find books or do projects, but just can you quickly elaborate on their much wider and more vital role in society and the value they add to our communities?
Certainly, Krishni. Libraries, LIASA specifically, which represents library information workers and services in the country, has bought into the National Development Plan 2030. Notably, we support the contributions in terms of poverty alleviation as well as making citizens information literate and developing digital global citizens. Libraries are multi-purpose and multidimensional spaces. You go to a library not only to get books, but libraries are places where you have access to services. We have many stories about people who are unemployed who come to the library not only to find jobs in the classified, but also places where they can develop their CV. Libraries also offer spaces for adult basic education, information literacy. I've heard yesterday that libraries in some places also offer spaces where gardening could take place. The community could grow their vegetables. The challenge for libraries is that we need to embed ourselves more fully in the community, and conversely that the community recognizes that they own libraries.
Nikki Crowster is the National PRO for the Library and Information Services Association of South Africa, LIASA. Thank you so much for your time on the SABC News Desk.
Thank you.
All right, let's now take a look at what's happening in the world of business there. South Africa has avoided a technical recession. Data that has been released today shows the country's economy grew more than expected in the second quarter. Statistics South Africa says the economy grew 3.3% from April to June, following a dismal 1.2% contraction in the first quarter. Most economists had expected the growth would rebound after contracting in the first quarter, but many had forecast growth of about 2.5%. The main contributors to the GDP figure were the manufacturing industry and the mining and quarrying sector. Manufacturing increased by 8.1%, while mining and quarrying grew by 11.8%. Only two industries